Okay, with that being said, let's jump into 3 strategies to start believing in yourself right away. Okay? So, why is this so important? Well, first of all, beliefs are what's going to really be one of the biggest driving forces in our life, right? With our beliefs are going to dictate just about anything and everything we do, from bad habits to how we communicate with our lovers, to what kind of level we value ourselves at, if we exercise or not, if we, what kind of political, religious, spiritual affiliation, what kind of decisions we make, how motivated we are. All of those things are going to tie into our belief system. Why I say that is because beliefs are pretty important, and if you're struggling, there's likely some sort of inconsistent belief, or more significantly, there's a belief about why you can't, or a belief about why you're unable to. So beliefs are, a word like belief sounds like it's a really positive word, which it is, but let's be really clear here. Sometimes we can have limiting beliefs, and beliefs of limit or lack will do more to keep us stuck and create problems in our life than anything else. So if you find yourself in a situation where things aren't working the way you want, you're not producing the results you want to produce, I encourage you to look very carefully at some of your belief systems you have. I'm willing to bet that there may be a belief about why you cannot get what you really want, and a belief about why you're getting what you think you deserve. Now, with that being said, when we start to look at changing our belief system around, there's lots of processes we can do. Some are a little bit more involved than others. What I want to share with you all today is 3 soundly tested and proven strategies to start helping you recondition and retrain your brain and elicit and tap into some greater emotions so that you're able to start really changing your beliefs around. Sound good? Cool. So strategy number one is develop a mantra. Develop a mantra. Now, what does that mean? Because all of us have heard about positive talk, positive affirmations, all those kinds of things, and that's not what this is about. Should a mantra be mostly positive? Yeah, for most people, I would say it would be. And there's some people that they might really be motivated by a mantra that isn't the most rosy-posy on paper. I haven't said rosy-posy in a long time. I don't know where that just came from. Anyways, so a mantra, where's the benefit of it? Well, a mantra becomes like a mission statement, a calling card, a one word or one line summary for yourself that you can start to filter away all the other chatter and all the other talk and just start to condition yourself to see yourself only as that. Now, why is this so helpful and why is this so effective? Well, one of the problems we run into when we're having any sort of limiting belief or negative beliefs about ourselves, or lack of belief about what we can do, is because we have too many other voices going on, right? We all have these voices in our head that pop up and say, oh, you can't do that. You're stupid for trying that. What are you thinking? Why did you even think that was possible? You're not this, you're too this, you're not good enough, you're not, anybody get what I'm saying? Any of you ever had any one of those voices go through at any given time? Hearts, thumbs up, yes, right? I'm willing to bet that each and every one of us has probably had that at some point. I just saw Periscope start shooting up hearts everywhere. I know I certainly have, and I've had every single one of those voices at some point that I just mentioned, and then some too. So when we allow this free reign, open dialogue to run amok in our mind, we need to have some sort of place that we can come back to and almost firmly plant ourselves, anchor ourselves to a place or a position of strength for ourselves. That's where a mantra comes in. Because a mantra can elicit and evoke a certain amount of power, a certain amount of confidence, a certain amount of action, a certain amount of motivation, whatever it is. A mantra can bring that out to us. Most importantly with the mantra is it can quiet those other voices. Now here's how, and this is what's really important with the mantra. 2 things. One, I encourage you to, when you're developing your mantra, to write it down. And then when you recite your mantra, really important here, you recite it out loud. You're speaking it out into the world. Why is that? Because when we speak it out loud, it quiets the voices, because it's virtually impossible for us to say something and then have the not so positive voices, the more negative voices going and having any breath, right? They exist and they thrive in our silence, right? Because oftentimes they come from a place of when we're remaining silent and from doing on what we really should do. We choose inaction instead of action. So when you speak it out loud and when you choose a mantra, I encourage you to say and choose a mantra of power. A mantra of power. I saw someone just type in, my mantra is this too shall pass. And why I think that's positive and reassuring it all, the challenge I would have with that kind of mantra is it's almost powerless, right? This too shall pass. The image I immediately get in my head is kind of like I'm going to wait on the sidelines and just wait and wait and wait for the storm to pass. Versus a mantra of more of the storms here, or not even the storms here. I am a strong, capable, and confident person who is able to navigate through any storm, right? That's more action evoking. That's more action taking. It's much more powerful, right? It's much more purposeful. See, you want your mantras to be very powerful and purposeful. You want them to be something that is coming from you, and it insinuates and evokes an action taking mentality. We don't want a mantra that's it's making us more passive. Because part of the challenge that so many of us face in our lives is that we've become too passive in going after what we want. And so instead we sit and wait till the side for the perfect time, right? Has anybody ever waited for the perfect time? Okay, honesty time. How many of you who wait for the perfect time, does the perfect time ever come around? I mean, really be honest. I can tell you how many times I've waited for the perfect time in my life, and guess what? The perfect time never came about. The only time I ever had the perfect time was when I decided to make that time the perfect time. I see quite a few thumbs up going across and hearts going across on Facebook now. So I'm taking that means that you get what I'm saying about the perfect time. So we want our mantras to be, and I see Periscope's jumping in now too. We want our mantras to be very indicative of action taking. We don't want it to be passive. We want it to be powerful. We want it to be powerful. We want it to be motivating. We want it to be, and then you want to speak it out loud. And when you speak it out loud, you want to put some energy behind it. So if my mantra was, let's just say, I'm Jesse, I'm powerful, I'm a leader, and I'm strong, I'm not going to say, I'm Jesse, I'm powerful, I'm a leader, and I'm strong, right? That doesn't really reinforce what I'm trying to get. You want to put some energy behind it. You want to put some energy behind it. So when whatever your mantra is, you want to speak it as that. Speak it with the energy as whatever that is. If you're if your mantra is meant to be motivating, speak it with some motivation. If your mantra is meant to be empowering, speak it with some power, right? If your mantra is meant to be inspiring, speak it with some inspiration. If your mantra is meant to be motivating, don't speak it with, oh, okay, right? That's not going to do anything. Okay, so that's strategy number one. Strategy number two. And please forgive me because I know there's quite a few of us on here who are not in the U.S. And from my travels in other parts of the world, it seems to be that a lot of the bigger media stations have kind of the same agenda, which is you want to put a lot of fear and bad stuff out into the world. So strategy number two about forming a better belief, starting believing yourself right away, is turn the news off. Turn the news off. Now, why is that? Well, the news is supposed to inform us, Jesse. I want to keep up on current events, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I don't have my journalism degree, and I can keep you up on current events according to the news. The world is doom and gloom. Shit's bad. Our politicians are basically bullying and yelling at each other. If it's not death, mayhem, and chaos and pushing some sort of political agenda, it's not going to be on the news. Okay, now we've got it covered, and we've pretty much surmised the last 6 months of the American news. I mean, right? Anybody here watch American news, I'm sure you can agree to that. I can't, again, please forgive me for those of you who are internationally, it may not have been quite as succinct or dramatic. But you get what I'm saying. The news has become almost this, I wouldn't even call it news anymore, right? What's news about what they're even telling us that's new and different? I mean, really, what is news about it? So what I get out of when I watch the news, and again, this could just be me because maybe this is what I've become accustomed to listening for, is is stuff's bad. People are turning on each other. You turn on the news in the U.S. and it's about racism, sexism, who said what, he said this, she did that. You know, who's lying, who's cheating, who's stealing. There's nothing positive there. And how does that directly affect your life? And I mean it in the sense of, how are these actions of these other people going to, they report, I saw somebody just write, they report things like it's a movie. They do. I mean, they really do. You're absolutely right. They put all the drama in it, and it's almost like this work of fantasy. Decide what you want for your life, and I'm willing to bet that if you want to live a high quality life, a life that's filled with positive emotions and joy and fulfillment, you're not going to get that from the news. I cannot remember the last time that the news was reporting on, this is what people are doing to feel fulfilled. This is what people are doing to be happy. This is what people are doing to be joyful, right? Real life strategies that would actually help and benefit all of our lives. Instead, what you see is a lot more of, this is why you need to stay locked inside. This is why you need to rely on this person to come in and with as the knight in shining armor and save the day. You know, I would respectfully challenge it that if you find that you're not producing the results you want in life, and if you get a less than positive emotional response from watching the news, turn it off. Because the last thing you need is when you're trying to form a belief system about yourself, or you just want to feel better in general, the last thing you need is a bunch of people screaming and yelling at each other and telling you all the horrible stuff in the world. I mean, really, come on. How is that benefiting your life? There's no way it is. There's no way it is. Okay, but what it does is it hurts it because it's stuff that's getting implanted and imprinted, and then what happens? We get the thought, and then we start seeing it. We start noticing it more. I don't know about all you, but I would much rather find the sunshine and rainbows than I would rather see, you know, the violence and chaos that they put on the news. If I'm going to watch violence and chaos, I want to do it with a bucket of popcorn, and we'll be watching a movie and know that the movie's going to have some sort of happy ending in it. Right? That's not what happens in the news. There's not happy endings. It's to be continued. Stand by before the next dramatic and awful story. Right? So what this will do is by cutting the news off, it's going to allow you a lot of free space to stop focusing on what they train you to focus on, because they do, and start to let you decide what you want to focus on. Right? If you're always trained to see weeds, you're going to find the weeds, aren't you? Right? Aren't you? If you think weeds, 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 you can walk through the most beautiful garden, and guess what you'll see probably before anything? You'll see the one weed. If instead you start to train yourself to see the flowers, you will start to see the flowers. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not weeds out there and they don't exist. I'll be the first to admit that there's some crappy things that happen, and there's some really crappy things that happen to some really good people. That's not to dismiss that at all. What this is to say is in your day-to-day life, if you want to start believing in yourself, start taking out the stuff that would do what it can to take away your power, that would do what it can to make you believe that you need them, because you, in my opinion, I respectfully say you don't. And I see a lot of hearts and thumbs up and stuff going on, so I hope that this is connecting with you all. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Last time I could say the news gave me some sort of positive, add some positive value to my life. And what I would have to go through to get that, it's like imagine you have this pit full of muck and mud, and in the middle of the pit on this little teeny tiny platform there's a delicious cookie. Now, you could go through the muck and mud and get the cookie, or what you could do is just get away from the muck and mud altogether and look around and find the resources you need to make the cookies yourself. And then you can make as many cookies as you want. Because there's not just that one cookie out there, is there? There's quite a few of them. So that was number 2. Number 3 is what we call a mirror exercise. A mirror exercise. And what I'd want you to do with this is spend 5 minutes a day, twice a day, morning and at night, first thing in the morning when you wake up and at the end of the day before you go to sleep. And you want to look deeply into your eyes. So you have to make eye contact with yourself. And you're going to spend 5 minutes at a time. And what you're going to do is you're going to talk positively about yourself. You're going to talk lovingly about yourself. You're going to talk complimentary about yourself. Now, I recognize for some of us, this may be wrong. And this comes in inevitably when I talk about this or I teach this to clients. They'll say, "Well, Jesse, it doesn't feel right. I don't. Is this fake it till you make it kind of stuff?" It can be, but here's the thing. Most of us who have a block in our belief system, we have it there because we've reinforced ourselves so many times over and over again with the negative thoughts, the limiting beliefs. I can't, I'm not worthy, whatever it is. Which means we haven't made a deliberate effort to download new beliefs, download a new way of languaging things so that we can start to think, feel, and act in a different way. What the mirror exercise does, and I see lots of hearts and I see lots of thumbs ups coming through, so I think this must be connecting again. What this allows us to do is it allows us to start to form and create a new relationship with ourselves. A new relationship with ourselves. See, so many of us, we don't realize this, that we're doing this every day, that the relationship we have with us is formed because of what we say to ourselves in here. Think about that. The relationship you have with you, the reason you're not able to believe and do and act in the way you want is because of the relationship you formed with yourself in here. What the mirror exercise gives you the opportunity to is it gives you an opportunity to form a new relationship with you. Because think about this. If your best friend or your sister or your brother, whoever it was to stand in front of you each and every day, several times a day, and sincerely say what a wonderful person you are, you'd probably start to feel it, right? Or at least, at the very least, you'd start to experience it and believe it a little bit. Maybe even your curiosity would be perked and say, wow, so-and-so who I really love and respect thinks this about me, so maybe it's there within me too. Guess what? You get to remove the other person now and just do it with you. Just do it with you. Now, I'll admit right off the bat that there is a learning curve with this. What I mean by that is that there may be some time, especially in the first few days or whatever doing this, that it might feel a little uncomfortable, that it might feel a little awkward, it might feel a little strange. But let's be real. Anything that we've ever tried before likely felt awkward or a little strange or a little uncomfortable, right? Think about some of the things that you absolutely like the most. Think about some of the things that are the most enjoyable to you. I'm willing to bet that there might be a little awkwardness or uncomfortableness there at first too, right? Any of you who have ever been in love before likely went through a little bit of an awkward or uncomfortable phase in the relationship, right, as you formed that love and connection. Any of you who ever begun a in our exercise program likely felt a little bit awkward or uncomfortable when you started doing that. Any of you who ever cleaned up your nutrition, right, may have felt a little awkwardness or uncomfortableness with this as you were processing out a lot of the crap foods and bringing in more good stuff. So think about it. There are so many examples in our lives where when we went through and began something new, we had that little bit of an awkward or uncomfortable phase. It ended up being so much better because of it. Right? It ended up being so much better because of it. So here's what I ask of you when you do this mirror exercise. Is when you decide to do this, please, please, please do yourself the honor of committing to do this. Right? Committing to do this. Because this isn't necessarily going to be a one-off where you're going to walk up to the mirror and say, hey Jesse, wow, I love you so much. Especially when you have a dialogue in the back of your head saying, you're a loser, you suck, and you can't do this. And you can walk up and say, hey Jesse, great to see you today. You're so awesome. I love you. It probably won't come out quite like that. And it might be really hard and you might feel shy. You might shy away from yourself. It might just feel foreign to say the words. So when I say you do this and I beg of you to please give yourself this gift, commit to doing it. Commit to the process of it. All right? It's funny that I just said that because next week we're going to be talking about trust the process, right? So you got to commit to the process. I would suggest that you commit to giving this an honest to goodness attempt for the next 30 days. Meaning you can start it, whether it's evening or the morning, wherever you are in the world, go from the 14th to the 14th. 14th to the 14th, October to November, and just see what happens. See what happens, because if you're willing to stick with it and get through that awkward and uncomfortable stage, I'm willing to bet that you have an amazing treat in store at the other end. A gift that's there and waiting for you. See, most of us never realize the gifts. Most of us never, because we never finish what we start. We kind of dabble in it and we say, oh, I'll try it. And you do it and you say, oh, that Jesse guy, what the hell was he talking about? He's sitting there telling me to talk to myself and say I love yous to myself in the mirror. I tried it. It was stupid. It didn't work. The disclaimer is this may not be something that clicks in right away. You have to do it consistently. You have to do it consistently. Now, if you do all of these things, I bet you're going to accelerate your results. I bet you're going to accelerate your results. If you don't do these things consistently, you're going to find yourself struggling. And remember, here's the reality. I was explaining this to the folks who attended Unlock Your Greatness last week, and if we simplify life down to one of two paths, path number one and path number two. If we look at life in this simple terms and we say life is literally path one or path two, and on this path we're going to commit to getting whatever result we're after, right? No matter what the obstacle is, no matter what it seems like, how impossible it may be, we're going to go after and we're going to get this path. We're going to learn, we're going to do, we're going to say, we're going to figure out whatever it is we need to do to get this. If some of you may question the validity of this path, but if you do, look at people like Mother Teresa, Michael Jordan, Princess Diana, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Pablo Picasso, William Shakespeare, Beethoven, an Oprah Winfrey, right? The list could go on and on, because the thing that's in common with them is all these people decide on this path and they made it happen. Or path two, which is going to be a path that we're going to commit to focusing on the obstacles, figuring out the excuses that justify the obstacles, and keeping us on this path and stuck where we are. If you simplify life like that and you look at it as only one or two paths, it makes it really pretty friggin' easy. I'm either going to commit to figuring out how and what I need to do, or I'm going to commit to figuring out how or what I need to do to stay where I am. Think about it. I mean, life could literally boil down into one or two paths, if you allowed it to. Now, most of us won't allow ourselves to simplify life that much because, well, if we do that, where's our gray area? And see, a lot of us thrive in gray area because that's where excuses will grow. That's where excuses will grow. That's where our reasons will grow. That's where our justifications about why you didn't have to do the mirror exercise. Why you tried it at 8 days and then after 8 days you decided, well, it just didn't work for me. It's not my thing. So again, if you're going to do this, you have to commit. Please, 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 please do yourself the honor of committing to the process. Commit to the process. Because if you do, you will find that this could be absolutely transformative to your life. Once you start to believe in yourself, there's nothing that you cannot do. And anything is possible for you. Now, does that necessarily mean we snap our fingers and we have all the beliefs we want? No, not at all. Because many of us aren't even clear on what it is we really want. We'll say we don't want what we have, but we're not sure what it is we want. So believing in yourself doesn't solve everything, but what it does do, and most importantly, is it gives you a foundation. It gives you a foundation to build upon, because no matter what happens in life, no matter what kind of bumps in the road you hit, no matter what obstacles you face, no matter what kind of challenges you throw in front of you, when you have a foundation of believing in yourself, you know that no matter what, you got you. You got you, and that you're good with you. And when you're good with you and you got you, nobody can take that away. Nobody can take that away. And when you got you and you're good with you, and you have that kind of belief, the sky's, I would say the sky's the limit, but we know that there's footprints on the moon. So when you have that belief and you know that you can do it, that you got you, the only limits are going to be the ones that you decide. The only limits are going to be the ones that you decide. I see lots of hearts popping up, so I hope that means that really resonated with you all, and thank you so much for it. So just a quick recap, and then we'll open this up into Q&A. 3 strategies for starting to believe in yourself right away. Number 1, develop a mantra. Now remember, you want to energize your mantra. You want it to be something that's powerful and empowering. You don't want it to be passive. You want it to be inspiring, action evoking. And when you say your mantra, which you're saying it out loud, because that's the real magic of it, because it helps quiet the inner voices, you want to say it with the emotion you want to evoke. If it's supposed to be an empowering mantra, say it with power. You don't want to say it passively. Oh, I'm Jesse and I'm here to kick some ass. Right? That's not going to do a ding-dong thing. That was my Ned Flanders-esque response right there. For some reason, Ned just popped up in my head. So I went with it. Number 2, turn the news off. Turn the news off. I would be shocked to find somebody that says the news brings a great deal of love, joy, and happiness in their life. If you find yourself with a void of something, or the news does not leave you feeling loved, happy, joyful, and inspired, I would highly encourage you to turn it off. I'd highly encourage you to turn it off, because most of what at least I see on the news is going to be stuff that's going to make you believe that the world's going to end. There's a lot of fear. There's things to be terrified of. A lot of people are bad. Everybody doesn't get along. And whatever else nonsense is out there. Number 3, 5 minutes a day, twice a day, first thing in the morning, right before you go to bed at night, the mirror exercise. Looking in your mirror, making eye contact with yourself, holding eye contact, and saying really positive, really loving, really powerful and inspiring things about yourself. Speaking about the good things about yourself. And if it's uncomfortable, you're committing to sticking it out the full 5 minutes. I get that you may not be able to always be able to maintain contact, because it's going to be a skill you have to learn, but you're committed to trying. You're committed to doing whatever you need to, and when you feel yourself break eye contact, you're going to come right back to it. Lock eyes with yourself and finish out the exercise. Now remember, when you do this, you're not committed to just doing it for a couple days and saying, well, Jesse said it and it didn't work. That's not what I'm saying at all. You're giving yourself a full 30. A full 30 days, October 14 to November 14, a full 30 days. Give yourself that gift, and you'll be amazed at what can happen. All right, that's what I got for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here and your time and your attention. What questions do you have about this? I saw there was a lot of comments and questions going through. I apologize I didn't answer them when we were going. I had to try to keep my train of thought. So I can open and answer questions now. What questions do you have? Periscope or Facebook Live? My eyes are actively scanning. Do you have different mantras for different aspects of your life? You know, I don't personally, but I know some people do, and if that makes more sense to you, I would definitely do that. If that makes more sense to you, I'd definitely do it. And I would play around with the idea of having one kind of overarching mantra, you know, the main one to go to. But if that makes more sense to you to have mantras for specific parts of your life, yeah, definitely. Thanks, Jesse, for the talk. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here and listening in. I appreciate you being here. Good question. What other questions do you have? I got a little bit of time right now. And I appreciate, thank you so much, everybody, for all the hearts, the thumbs up, the little funny smiley faces that go around. Thank you for sharing this and inviting your friends and family to be a part of this too. What is a great mantra to motivate yourself? A great mantra to motivate yourself would be something like, something that just pops to my mind is that I'm strong, I'm confident, I can do this. I'm strong, I'm confident, I can do this. I'm strong, I'm confident, I got this. Oops, Periscope, I'm sorry, I just missed that. I faded away at the last second. What mantra can be used to keep out negative comments from people when you are improving your life? What mantra can be used to keep out negative comments from people when you're improving your life? I would say something like, I am what I decide I am. I am what I decide I am. Because when other people are going to make negative comments, if we start to take those on or believe them, it's because there's some sort of limiting belief we have about ourselves. But I think there's a lot of power in saying, I am what I decide I am. I am what I decide I am. And then you get to decide who you are and what you want to be. I am what I decide I am. Oh my gosh, that was a great one. Thanks, Jesse. Oh, it's awesome. Good. Print that one up and recite it and let me know how it goes. Is passion a mantra, or is that too general? It's a great question. I would say it's too general, but I think passion can definitely be part of a mantra. And what I would incorporate with that is something like passionate how. So I'm passionate about delivering a message of inspiration to people. Maybe something like that would work. Be specific about the passion. Make sense? Great question. What's a good mantra for sleeping in your car? In what context? In what context? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question. You bet. You're very welcome. Yes. Awesome. Please do and keep us updated. I want to hear how that goes. What other questions you all have? What's a good mantra for sleeping in your car that's temporary? Meaning that you're You're deciding to sleep in your car rather than sleeping with a roof over your head. Is that what you mean? You're deciding to sleep in your car versus sleeping in an apartment, a house, or something like that. Is that what you're getting at? I just want to make sure I'm clear. When you're talking in the mirror to yourself, do you have to compliment yourself about all aspects of yourself, including physical, emotional, and spiritual, or do you hone in on one area at a time? Great question. What I would suggest you do is hone in on an area, specific area that you probably feel the most comfortable with or confident with, or seems like it may be the easiest. And that way you can really practice on that and get some momentum going for yourself. Because with the momentum, then you can build onto the other ones too. And especially as you get more proficient and feel more comfortable and confident with the exercise, I would start sprinkling in the other ones then. But you get definitely do the area that you feel the most, especially if you feel there's one area more so than the others, and get some momentum behind it. Right? Get some momentum behind it. Part of the goal with these exercises is not to make it impossible. We want to simplify it and make it as simple and easy to do as possible for ourselves. So let's not tackle. We don't necessarily need to hit a home run. Getting on base is going to be plenty sufficient here. Good stuff. What other questions do you have? I can't do the mirror thing, Jesse. I look rough in the AM. So that sounds like if we go back to our two paths, that sounds like this path over here now, doesn't it? This is the path of the excuses about why we cannot do something. I think at the times where we may not look our prettiest or our absolute best is probably the best time to do these things. Because if we can find the love, joy, happiness, confidence, whatever it is we're looking for beneath the exterior, beneath the surface, that's when the real magic happens. So to retract, I am strong, confident, and I can. Is that what you had? I cannot remember exactly what I said because it's whatever comes up at that time. I don't want to misquote myself. So what I would suggest you do is once we're done, just rewind it and rewatch that part. I don't write these things down as they come up. I just kind of brah and it comes out. You're very welcome. What other questions we have? We have to actually follow through to change anything. Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to follow through if you want to change anything. You got to follow through and want to change anything, including if you want to win the lottery. If your goal is to win the lottery, you don't buy a ticket, you don't go down and turn it in, you're not winning nothing. You have to believe to achieve too general. Yeah, I would say that's too general, and the challenge with it is if we don't believe already and we're making that a contingency, right? To get this, then I have to do this. So another thing with mantras is I would remove contingency mantras. I would remove contingency mantras. If this, then this. And again, really focus on specific and decisive. Make sense? Good question. Can you have a theme song for a mantra that helps pump you up and motivate you along with the mantra? Yeah, you definitely can. And I would pick a separate mantra and then use a pump up song or a theme song as just that, as a pump up song, a theme song. Okay, I've never done one of these before. Use the one because that connected with you. So I just rewind it back to that spot in the talk. I'll post it right afterwards. And use that one because it really seemed to connect with you. What other questions you all have? I have about 5 more minutes. So I've got time for maybe 2 or 3 more questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for being such a great audience tonight. I really appreciate all your interaction and the questions and the comments. It makes it a lot more fun and enjoyable for me when there's people on the other end being interactive with it. That's the funnest part for me about this, is being able to actually, we're not physically talking to each other, but to have that kind of conversational part back and forth. I appreciate it. Sorry, Periscope, I just missed it. I saw something fade away. Anything else? So while you all are typing in your final question, just as a reminder, the next one of these, if you enjoyed this, if you found value in this, the next one's going to be next Friday, October 21st at 1 p.m. Pacific time, I believe. 1 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to talk about trusting in the process. If you want to join in on the Facebook Live for Ask Jesse, that's going to be Monday around 11:40 a.m. Pacific time. And that's going to be, if you want to submit a question for that post to submit the questions on will show up Friday 8 a.m. Pacific time. So tomorrow 8 a.m. Pacific time. And that's the next schedule. Oh, and then Tuesday 11 a.m. is going to be moral of the story. Oops, I missed out. What is a healthy way to meet new friends besides church? Anything, exercise, looking at clubs you enjoy doing, looking at anything that you're passionate about, you're interested in, finding groups that are into those types of things and going there. I think that'd be great. What's this one? I love that you're so psychoanalytical. It's great. I'm obsessed with the news and the American election. How do I just turn off? Push the power button. Push the power button. For those of you who are curious about turning it off, push the power button. Is that literal? Yes. Is it a metaphor? Yes. Right? The power button's both, because think about what the power button might represent. I've always found it fascinating that the button that we turn the TV on to is the power button. The cable box button is the power button. Did we just go into the Twilight Zone? I think we might have. Think about that. Think about that. You turn the power button, you push in the power button, and all of a sudden the box and the thing starts to say these things that may not be the best. I wonder why the name's called the power button. Something to think about. All right, I see lots of hearts, and I think that connected with you. So we're going to wrap it up. We're going to call it there. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I appreciate your time so much. I hope you all found value in this. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Periscope, for sharing this with your friends, your family, your coworkers. Facebook Live, thank you for sharing this with friends, family, coworkers. I appreciate so many of you pushing the heart button over again, the thumbs up, the little smiley faces, and all the emojis that come up. I had a great time, and I hope you all found value in this too. Again, if you want to be back for this, we're going to do it again next week, Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, trusting in the process. Until then, have an amazing rest of your night, a fantastic morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for so many of you logging in from all around the world. To my knowledge, I think we had 4 continents, and I saw at least 8 or 9 different countries. So pretty cool audience. And I really enjoyed this time. I look forward to doing this again soon. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome rest of the night. Bye-bye.